Once we get used to using reference data in effects, we can really begin to leverage the power of reference data and also nested reference data in building our effects and having effects that are easily transferable from show to show to show. So let's take a look at another way to quickly build a flyout using nested reference data. So I have some standard intensity palettes and focus palettes that I use in every show. I'll have an up and a down for all of my fixtures. So for example, if I was to turn these on and I send them up, they're going to go to basically a flown out position, and a down, which is basically going to go to a flown in position. I will also create an on and an off intensity palette. So intensity palette 1, we can see is on, right? And you can see it here in the live table. Intensity palette 2 is off. So using the combination of those two things, it's very easy for me to create 4 presets, an in and an off, which is pointed down, light doused, an up and an on, the fixtures in their up position, on, and the reverse, an in and an on, and an up and an off. And that will allow me to create a fly out and a fly in. Now, all of my palettes are always recorded by type. So in this case, my intensity palettes are recorded by type, so anything of that type will be able to use that on or that off palette. And all of these lights are recorded into my focus palette. So my focus palette in this case isn't by type because focus is fairly specific per fixture. But I know that every light in my rig does eventually get dumped into those palettes. Because of that, if I take a look at the way these presets are constructed, I can see that these presets are also recorded by type, and they use my off preset and my down focus palette. And the next preset, the up and the on, uses my on intensity palette and my up focus palette. And because these are by type, anything that is included in these palettes will automatically show up in this preset. Then create an effect. And if I was to look at one of my flyout effects here, you can see it's just 3 actions as opposed to the much more complicated relative flyout that we made in another video. I just have my in and my off, which is them pointed down with no light coming out. The up and the on, which is them using the up and on preset. And then a step that turns them off and resets them. So now if I just grab everything in, say, one of those presets, and I run that effect, we can see I get this nice flyout. And it's just using my focus palette, which I have anyway, combined with a by-type intensity palette. And then I could also just send those to use my fly in, and it's just using that focus palette in reverse and those intensity palettes in reverse. So if I look at what that effect looks like, it's basically the opposite. So I basically have 2 effects, and I'm just swapping what presets I'm using in those effects. But what's nice is if I always have these presets in my stock preset list, and they're always referencing focus palettes I'm always going to have, such as my up and my down, I can have this ready to go, and as long as I populate these 2 palettes with my fixtures, then this flyout and this fly-in is always going to work. It works a little differently than the relative flyout effect because it doesn't function relative to where the lights currently are. It is going between 2 set positions, but it is a quick and easy way to just take lights and have them, say, fly out.